Hi there.
Howdy. We're going to do something that's one of my favorites today, which is working with imagery. And Bonnie and I both have some really cool stuff. Um, it's not, it's weird. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's a lot easier than it used to be. Um, some days it's harder than others, and I can't tell you why. It just seems to be the nature of it. But what it does is really cool. So I'm going to jump right in with an example here. Okay. Share, and we're going to share this thing.
Yeah, I use aerial photos in my work daily.
Yeah, it's just
It
it
is.
adds it adds a dose of reality, I think.
Yes.
Maybe that's the
But I
thing.
feel like with all the devices and stuff, people are used to seeing aerial imagery and they kind of expect it. So,
And plus it gives them something to navigate off of. So
yeah.
some people are great at um, going from a map, just a map, to knowing where that is and understanding what's at that location. Other people have a harder time with that. It's just, I
Yeah.
think it's just
I
how
like
we're wired.
I like to know, okay, it's on the right just past the Arco or right before the target. So aerial photos help with
I
that.
know I am not allowed to give my wife, who is a brilliant person, I am not allowed to give her directions that include north, east, south, or west. So it has to be right and left. So,
Yeah.
and where we live, Pacific Coast Highway goes east and west. That took years for her to accept that. She's from Seattle. Everybody knows Pacific Coast Highway is north south. It goes down the coast the whole way. Well, the coast moves. So here we are.
Okay. How does that relate to aerial photos? Here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
This is a
it's how
cool
we
one.
orient ourselves though. So
Yes.
this is an example from one of my clients, and they owned this property. This is a company called historicaerials.com. You gotta love how clear that name is, what they do. And you can sign up for a subscription with these people, and or buy individual photos, and then all of this gunk gets removed. But this is just like the first sampler, which frankly was good enough for my use. So they knew that they had a gas station at one point on this corner. Now that was going to greatly interfere with their construction because it would be considered contaminated. So
Yeah, so
using this
there's
site,
when you do that, when it's underground storage, there's a whole lot of remediation that you need to do when you take
yeah,
out, because if things leak underground, then the soil's contaminated. It adds a whole bunch of complexity. So
yeah. So this is a 1952 photo. I actually used a little earlier one they had available there. I could zoom way in, and you could see that there is a gasoline tank back here. You can't see it on this one. There's a gasoline tank back here that's clearly an above ground tank. So the good news is above ground tanks don't leak very much. And the reason why is because when they leak, you notice. And nobody wants to have gasoline leaking, least of all the station owner who is losing product. So anyway, when we showed it was an above ground tank using this, that cleared everything up. Here's a cool
it's
tool.
funny in my work as well. We have several years back worth of aerial photos, and someone recently asked me, like, okay, I want to take a look at this area and see how it was about parking cars and how was this area set up for parking cars in two historic things. So, yeah, the historic research value of it is huge.
Yeah, in this case, it saved my client thousands of dollars and months of work that were just unnecessary when we found that. So awesome.
And for planners, for code enforcement, you can say, "Oh, what is this structure?" And people will
Oh yeah,
always say, "Oh, that was there when I bought it." And it's public record when they bought it. And you can look up the previous aerial photo and show that, yeah, that structure was actually there when you bought it, or it wasn't there when you bought it and you're busted. So,
usually it's the latter,
yeah.
but yes. Just saying from my years as a planner, anybody who's a planner watching this will appreciate that. And then they say, "Oh, I forgot." And your answer to that is, "Oh, okay. Just let's just go forward from there."
Yeah.
They're willing to admit this is the way it is now. We're just moving forward. Um, so this is a really handy resource. It's the UC Santa Barbara um, aerial photo, what do they call it? The aerial photograph library. And they use a tool called Frame Finder. And so this is the page for Frame Finder here, explaining how it works. And you'll see in a second, because I have this already open, um, the darker the dot, the earlier the imagery is. And some of these you are amazed that in 1928 they were doing aerial photos. Well, that was a really handy thing then because they were working from nothing. So it was actually a pretty popular thing.
But I like
Um,
that they color code the decade so that if you're
oh,
looking for a particular time frame, it can help you narrow it down because you'll see from this, look at all this. If it
yeah.
wasn't color coded, you'd have to look through a lot of stuff to try to
Yeah.
find.
And even then, okay, so this is the airport, obviously. So this looks like a pretty dark one. So let's check on that.
It's the airport in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, naturally it opens to, see, I'm pointing to the screen, as you can all tell. Um, when you click on one of these, it gives you more information, and including the scale that it was done at and when it was done. So this is February 1st, 1929. Like, wow. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I love that it tells you whether it's free or costs money too. So that one's a
yeah.
free download. That's
And
nice.
none of them cost money like you're having to buy it. But with some of these, they haven't scanned them. They have the photo, but they haven't scanned it. And if somebody wants it, then they pay to have it scanned, and then it's available to anybody. So over time, you have more and more that's done. So I'm going to
Nice.
bet around here, probably all of these are already scanned. Let's just try random areas. Yeah, this is going to be all available. But there are plenty of areas where it's not. So if we move over to the Los Angeles area, you'll see that dots aren't as dense because they weren't collecting it. There we go. See how fast we made that drive? So
I
if
wish.
we if we look at my own community of Lomita here, you can see it's fewer dots, but it's still it's a good number. There's a lot here.
That is an
Um,
extensive collection.
it is an extensive collection. I mean, the city of Lomita is only 2 square miles, and we've got what, probably 20 aerial photos in there
Yeah.
that are older ones. In addition to that, we have the more modern things that we participate in. So, but these range from, I think that one is one of the oldest, 1933, and I've got 1928. Ooh, that's probably the oldest. Which, by the way, I've noticed a number of them say January 1st, 1928, which makes me assume they're actually older than that and they don't know exactly when they're from. So I wish they would say that, but such is
Yeah.
life. So then, if you want one of these things, click on it. It says free download. All you have to do is click on it and off it goes. Let's see if this will open in here.
It looks like it opened a new tab.
Let's
Oh
see.
no, it downloads it for
Oh,
you.
no. Anyway, I have it
Well,
open
hence
in a
the free
different window.
download.
Yeah, so that's a cool thing. Um, but let
Give
me
me,
show you what you
oh,
can do with it then. So let me switch apps here and we're gonna go
yeah.
to,
So what that did is it downloaded the photo into a TIFF file, and then you can bring in a TIFF file into ArcGIS, into
so let's look at
GIS.
that. Let's see what that looks like.
Okay.
I'm gonna use this one. So let me switch my share. Okay. So again, this is my city of Lomita, our massive metropolis of Lomita. 2 square miles, 20,000 people. There's my house and there. So if you are in the area, wave when you go by.
Pretty flowers in the front yard.
There you go. We have pretty flowers. Although we had such an early spring this year, they are already heading into early summer mode. It's weird.
Oh, that is weird.
So um, let's first let me show you this because this is related. So I did which with a similar color scheme except reversed. I did looking at our development patterns in town and found out there aren't any. You can see a few areas that are a lot of one color, but otherwise you can see it's all just a sprinkled around jumble because of the way the city was developed.
Yeah.
And if you wonder why, then the aerial photos are a big help in understanding that. So here is one of those photos that I have geo-referenced, and there are
And
many
what do you mean
terms.
georeference, Barry?
That
Um,
means, so you can see how it's turned here, right?
yeah,
So it came in as like that. It was either like that or 90 degrees of it. And so I had to rotate it to the right place. And then um, using the tools that you'll find in the book for this chapter, uh, I had to find points in common and then connect them. So
yeah,
what I used for that is the streets. Do I have my streets on? There we go. Let's turn my streets on to make it clearer. And I made them brighter for this. Just while doing this, all these things are adjustable, right? And so let's go with this.
yeah. So
There we go.
it's really handy because then you can make any photo fit into
Yeah,
the map, and then it's to scale, so you
yeah.
can measure things, you can see it in the bigger context of the area. Lots of things you can do with it.
And you could trim
And
off.
in my use as well, I will sometimes crop out, see how it's got that black border. So I'll crop
Yeah.
that out before I georeference it. But not always. It depends on what you're using it for.
Yeah, sometimes I leave it on because it gives a real authenticity to it. Like
Mhm.
people say, oh, this doesn't look like AI. This looks like real humans worked on this.
Yeah.
So you can see how this whole area was fields, and this is 1932. So right here, this became an airport soon after that, Lomita Field. Um, and then pertinent to what I was just showing about the construction patterns,
That's
this neighborhood, let me
a
find my
lot of
area.
agriculture,
Now,
actually.
see, we've lost a whole lot of visual cues here that we normally would have, right? So that means it's a little more effort to find where things are. So this is one of our main drags.
Yeah, at least
And
the main street intersections are stayed.
yeah, so there is, if we go up a little bit, oh, it's off the edge. Such is life. Yeah, that street didn't go through yet. Yeah, this is sometimes the hard part that your visual cues that you're used to, those streets don't even go through at that point. But what do you see here? You see a lot of little farms. You can see how this is probably multiple here. And this is now city blocks. And so it gives you an idea of what it was like. And so as each of those farms was broken down and developed, often by the people who lived in the house at the front, and they would build houses behind them or put a cul-de-sac in, then you had developments that were very small. So like my tract is 3 homes. Um, and so this is really a great piece of evidence that explains to you why things are the way they are. So let me switch to another one. Let me switch shares. Nope. Okay. And coming back here. This is a dangerous topic because there's so many cool things to look at in it.
I won't let him talk about it all day long, I promise.
No, nay, nay, we say. Okay. So can you see this one okay, Bonnie?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So this is the USC campus area.
It's in California.
Yep, we're fighting on, which it seems like such a poor way to work anything out. Like, try
Well,
working with somebody, but just saying,
yeah.
fight on, but work together. So this is the Coliseum, and I don't know what year that was built. Um, 30s, late.
What
I actually think it was built in 29.
what
So,
year is the photo, Barry?
um, well, this is modern photo, but we're going to bring in one that ain't. And so,
Right. I mean, it's colorized, but I was just curious. It doesn't have the
yeah.
crispness that I'm used to really current photos having. So I was
Well, if we
curious.
die, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It's better when you zoom in.
So
Okay.
this is yeah, this is where we teach is usually one of these two buildings.
Yeah.
And that's where my old dorm was that they ripped down because they're terrible people. Okay.
Oh, so it's that modern where your building's gone already. Okay,
Yeah.
that's only been within the last couple of years.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got an aerial photo here from a ways back. And this one, I believe, was 1938. So you can see there's no freeway. There's just Figueroa Street. We have the Coliseum and Exposition Park. That's quite visible. There's the Coliseum, the famous Rose Garden. Rose Garden's still there. And the USC campus, well,
Oh,
that looks a lot different.
that's a great photo for that time. That's good resolution.
It is. I mean, we can zoom in pretty far here before we start to lose. Uh,
While we're talking about imagery, resolution has to do with the pixel size. So every image is made up of a square. Sorry, my fingers aren't doing a square very well. A square pixel that is a color or not a color. It's like a level of color. And when you put them all together and pull back, that's when you get the whole picture. So old televisions were like that. Um, Actually, I'm guessing that still your screens that you're looking at on your laptop or whatever are still like that, but pixels. And as the pixel size is bigger, it's lower resolution. And then as the pixel size, so inches. So this would be like maybe a 3 inch by 3 inch pixel. Back in the day, when I first started in GIS, they had 1 foot pixels, and everybody just thought that was the best. Now I know there's companies experimenting with 1 inch pixels, which is super high resolution. So whenever we talk about resolution, it's how clear it is, and the clarity is because of the pixel size.
and there's a little trade-off with that, like 3 inch pixels versus 1 inch pixels. 1 inch pixels, that's 9 times the number of bytes that you have to use for the same data.
To store it,
That's
yeah, it takes huge storage.
Yeah, you end up with big files. Luckily, storage is cheap, but yeah,
And these days they can run like a map service so that you can get it that way so that you don't have to store that kind of thing locally.
yeah. So let's do something fun here. And if you now look up at this area here and watch when I click on this layer, because this is a raster layer. And so now I get a
Huh.
different set of tools.
That's yeah. So the different data types, raster and vector. So vector, point line, polygon. Imagery is raster data, and that's what makes it with the pixels. So that's what raster data is. It's made up of pixels.
So then if we click on now I have to remember which one. I always do it twice.
Yep.
Oh
There
no,
you
I got
go.
it. I got it right the first time. Well,
Yep.
it's a Christmas miracle and it's not even Christmas. Okay,
So this
so
swipe tool is what Barry's using.
again, the steps, you select the layer, the raster layer, imagery layer. You don't have to remember raster. If you click on it, you'll get these tools up here, and then you go, oh yeah, raster layer. By the way, there's the other choice data. Gives you some other tools that you can work with on those. And there's some cool AI stuff now working with raster data to say, hey, give me the building footprints out of this. And yeah, so I saw that the last couple of days at the geodesign conference. So then swipe, and then we just click once to activate it. I don't know why, but that seems to be how it works. And now, see, I can go back and forth between. And you
Oh,
can see
wow.
this.
And dramatic is the freeway.
Yeah.
On the new photo, you see the freeway, and then on the old one, you see all those neighborhoods that got bye-bye for the freeway to be put in.
One of
Wow.
my friends grew up in this neighborhood here on that side of campus, and he's a big UCLA fan. And I said, "Oh, you must be mad at USC for tearing down your neighborhood." And he goes, "That was a horrible house. I'm glad it's gone." So, so let's zoom in here a little and look at this. This is what used to be called College Hall, I think, something like that. Anyway, so let's look at this. And oh, sorry, that's Bogart. This is college. And that was ripped down. I was very sad because it was such an amazing looking building. And then I read about it, what terrible shape it was in. It needed to go. So, and you can see even here, we have change going on right now. And then we have the Galen Center here, which is the basketball arena. Um, but there's so much that you can get out of looking at these, and using that swipe tool is so handy. Rather than a lot of times you'll see two side by side maps and your eyes going back and forth between them. Don't do it. Yeah, in print you have to do that. Otherwise, do this. I mean, this is just the best.
And actually, you may recognize anytime there's a disaster, tornadoes and hurricanes are big on this, where they'll show on one side um, the aerial photo before the disaster and then the one after the disaster. And you can use a swipe tool on stuff like that, and it's very dramatic.
Yeah, let's look at this area. When I just nudge it. This is Exposition Park, famous rose garden. And I didn't know that there was some sort of an amphitheater there. So you can see I could have been more careful in my selection of points, but it
This is
was
pretty
as
zoomed in.
precise. It was as precise as it needed to be.
Yeah.
So anytime you can always make it something super precise, but why? Um, when there's tremendous amount of labor involved and you're not going to use it for that, don't do it. So, oh, that's a cool thing. If you lo watch here, this is the Museum of Science and Industry. Actually, I think then this might have been the Museum of Health. So now this thing underneath it is this is a very new photo. That's
It is,
the
yeah.
that's the space shuttle is inside that thing.
Yeah. And actually, I just noticed, Barry, the layer that you're using over there on the table in the contents at the very bottom, it's the Esri World Imagery base map.
Yeah,
So I did want to mention that in this discussion is that you don't necessarily have to go out and get aerial photography if you need modern aerial photography. That Esri World Imagery base map is amazing, and they do keep it mostly to date. I've had some things in my area that haven't been so up to date, but
yeah.
um
This is
yeah,
it's way better than the stuff in Google Maps. It's updated far more often, and it is generally a higher resolution. It depends where you are. But
and then they have one that yeah, if you zoom out, they have one that says imagery with labels or something like that, where they have one that has
yeah,
like the freeway and all the streets labeled so that you don't
yeah,
have
that
to have a
is.
separate
Let's back to
street
map,
layer to use on
base
top.
map.
Yeah.
The imagery hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah, that's it.
That's great for that.
Yeah.
But all of these can be useful for bringing in your imagery and then tying it down where you want it to be. Anyway, gotta love it. I love it. Let's bring our photo back. And you can see again, I intentionally did not crop it because I wanted to be able to see that whole area. Whoops. Ah, Sorry. So let me not be lazy here and zoom to layer. Let me see the whole thing. This covers a good chunk of LA off of one. This is one shot. So I'm going to say they did a very nice job with this. So let's have some great respect to our forebearers who did things without some of the technological benefits that we have now. So this is a lot cheaper to do now, but it's still useful to us almost a century later, right?
Yeah.
Do we have anything else to talk about on this?
Yeah, we wanted to, if you could zoom in on not the old one, but somewhere new. We wanted to talk about um, with the old photograph, you can geo-reference it and put it where it belongs. So another good thing, it's not imagery, but it is a way I use the imagery. So I'll use the imagery as a background and then get like an engineering plan of sewer lines or water lines, and you can geo-reference them so you can put them, lay them in the map where they go to scale. And then there's a way, so the plan is going to be black and white. So white background, black lines. There's a way that you can tell it um, to see to symbolize white, so the background, as no color. Then all you see are the black lines and the color from your aerial photo come through. Then you can digitize all those features so you can draw them into their own layer. Um, Not so much that I do that anymore, but whenever there's new lines, it's really great to be able to place them exactly where they go. It's a great way to check on, okay, sometimes they do a plan and then when they're in the field, they change it and they don't put it exactly where it says on the plan. So it's really, really helpful to do that kind of thing. So it's just another way to use the georeferencing and the base map as your reference.
No, and you got to make sure that your user understands the issue of precision. This is not a survey grade
Yeah.
um, activity. And if you want to
Most of
have
what we're
that,
doing,
you
most of
actually have
what
to
we
have a
do.
surveyor do it, a licensed surveyor do it.
Yeah.
God bless them, because I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that.
And
I
they
find
do
that,
do that on the plans. I do tell my users you don't GIS is not that survey grade accurate, so do
yeah,
not use it as that. It's a reference. It'll get you close to that valve that you're looking for, and if it should get you close enough that you can find it in real life.
yeah. And this is a long-standing battle between surveyors and GIS people that we're actually finally making some progress on after decades, clarifying those roles. But you can get data from a surveyor, you can get survey grade data and use that in your GIS and have something that's very high accuracy. And you can then use that to improve the accuracy of your other data, but it doesn't make your other data survey data. I know it sounds like we're splitting hairs, but when you get really to that and somebody designs something based on non-survey grade data and they pretend like it is survey grade, and then the building inspector comes out and says, this isn't your property, you're building over the line here. And they say, what? But the city told me, like, no, city didn't tell you that. But anyway,
And
it's a
I
thing.
have had people use the GIS for things they shouldn't have used it for. So
Yep. Grown-ups these days.
something to be careful with.
So is that it for this topic
Yeah, I think
today?
so.
Okay.
It's
It's
good
a
stuff.
really amazing stuff that you can do now. And being able to pile up different aerial photos and compare and contrast. And there's also data analysis tools that will go through and highlight the differences, the change, including like if you have a photo from a few months ago and then a photo from yesterday, which is particularly true in case of a disaster or something like that, you can find out exactly the impact very
So that's
fast.
typically called change detection,
Yeah.
and GIS has a lot of good tools for that.
Yep. Even though we all know that change is wrong. But anyway, so on that happy note, thanks for being here and we'll see you soon.
We'll catch you next time.